In the quiet hours of early morning, or in the hush of evening as the day comes to a close, many of us naturally begin to reflect. We ask softly, almost instinctively, why are we here? What is the purpose of this life, especially as we grow older and witness more clearly the delicate dance between joy and sorrow? With time, we come to see that both light and shadow accompany us on our path, not as opposing forces, but as sacred companions shaping the human journey. Buddhism gently welcomes this reflection, not with urgency or doctrine, but with calm openness. The Buddha taught that this human life is rare and precious, not because it is free from suffering, but because it offers us the chance to understand suffering, to meet it with wisdom, and to be transformed by it. This teaching is not about running from pain or clinging to pleasure, but about seeing clearly, feeling deeply, and walking gently. In today's reflection, we will explore 5 simple yet profound insights drawn from Buddhist wisdom, each offering a deeper understanding of how to live fully, mindfully, and peacefully, especially in the later chapters of life. We will begin by understanding why both pain and joy belong in a meaningful life. We will then reflect on how to reconnect with the quiet presence of our inner child, our true self, untouched by age or worry. We'll consider the deep healing that happens when we are truly seen, and when we learn to see others with compassion. We'll reflect on the Buddhist path of non-attachment, presence, and loving awareness as a way to find lasting peace of mind. And finally, we will gently explore why choosing the right companions and energies in later life is not just wise, it is essential for spiritual growth and emotional clarity. For those over 35 who seek stillness, healing, and deeper meaning, this reflection offers not answers, but space. A calm pause from the world's noise. A gentle mirror to your own quiet wisdom. So take a breath, and let us begin together, without rush, without judgment. Let the words be soft, the silence be welcome, and may the path of mindful living unfold quietly before you. Let us begin with our first reflection, why pain and joy both belong in a meaningful life. This is one of the most profound teachings of the Buddha, and yet it is one that many of us struggle to accept, especially as we grow older and begin to carry both the visible and invisible scars of life. We often spend much of our lives chasing joy and avoiding pain, thinking that true happiness lies in having more of one and less of the other. But the Buddha, in his deep wisdom, taught something far more liberating, that both joy and sorrow are not enemies, but sacred parts of the same whole. They are like the sun and the moon, different in light, but both essential in revealing the beauty of the sky. A life without sorrow would lack depth, and a life without joy would lack light. When we understand that pain is not a punishment and joy is not a reward, we begin to see both as gentle messengers, guiding us inward. The Buddha used the metaphor of the lotus flower, which blooms most beautifully not in clean water, but in muddy, murky ponds. From the depths of difficulty, something radiant arises. In our own lives, this means that the suffering we have endured, whether loss, loneliness, aging, illness, or regret, is not wasted. It becomes the soil from which wisdom and compassion can grow. At the same time, joy is not something to cling to, but something to be fully present with, like the warmth of the morning sun on your face, felt deeply, then released with grace. In Buddhism, this balance is known as equanimity, the ability to meet both pleasure and pain with calm awareness, without grasping or resistance. The Buddha once said, "Just as a solid rock is not shaken by the storm, even so the wise are not moved by praise or blame." This is not about becoming numb or detached from feeling. It is about developing the strength to be with all of life, just as it is. In later life, especially, this teaching becomes a refuge. When we realize that joy and pain are both temporary, both flowing through us like changing seasons, we stop fearing the winter and learn to rest in the warmth of spring while it is here. We begin to accept that tears and laughter sometimes come in the same breath, and that this, too, is beautiful. Real spiritual growth does not come from escaping sorrow but from understanding it, bowing to it, and allowing it to soften our hearts. Likewise, real peace does not come from chasing moments of happiness, but from being fully awake to whatever is here, whether it feels gentle or heavy. This is the wisdom that brings peace of mind. This is the path that opens us to true freedom. As you grow older, you may notice how life has given you moments that broke your heart and moments that made it soar. And now, with the clarity of age, you can begin to see that both were gifts. Both were teachers. And both are welcome. This is the quiet wisdom of growing older, to stop fighting with life, and instead, to live it, all of it, with presence, acceptance, and grace. You do not need to fear your feelings. You do not need to hide from your pain. The sacredness of being human is found not in what you avoid, but in how deeply you are willing to feel. In this way, your heart becomes not a battlefield, but a sanctuary, a place where joy and sorrow can sit together in peace. Now, let us move gently into our second reflection, how to reconnect with your inner child and your true self. In the quiet corners of your heart, beneath all the layers of responsibility, disappointment, and time, there lives a part of you that has never aged, a part that is tender, curious, open, and full of wonder. This is your inner child, not just a memory of your early years, but a living presence within your consciousness, a symbol of the authentic self, unconditioned by society, untouched by fear. In Buddhist teachings, this return to one's original nature is not about regression or sentimentality, but about rediscovering the simple, aware, and joyful being that exists when the mind is free from attachment, judgment, and ego. The Buddha reminded us again and again that the path to awakening is not about becoming someone new, it is about remembering who we truly are beneath the noise. As we grow older, many of us begin to feel a quiet longing, not just for peace, but for authenticity. We grow tired of pretending, performing, and carrying burdens that were never ours to hold. We long for simplicity, sincerity, and truth. Reconnecting with the inner child is an invitation to return to these qualities. It is about learning to listen to the voice within you that still knows how to rest in the present moment, to laugh without reason, to cry without shame, to wonder at the stars, and to speak with honesty. In Buddhist practice, mindfulness is the bridge to this reconnection. When we sit quietly and observe the breath, when we walk slowly and feel the earth beneath our feet, we begin to peel away the layers that separate us from our original nature. One breath at a time, one step at a time, we return. This return often begins with gentleness. Ask yourself, what did I love as a child? What brought me peace? What made me feel safe? What made me feel seen? These are not trivial questions, they are sacred doorways to healing. Often, the inner child has been ignored or silenced for years. By meeting this part of yourself with kindness and patience, you begin to mend the invisible wounds of self-abandonment. The Buddha taught that nothing is more important than self-understanding, for only when we truly see ourselves can we begin to live with compassion. Reconnecting with your true self is not about escaping the present, it is about being fully present with who you are now, and who you have always been. It is about recognizing the innocence that remains beneath all the hurt and honoring it. As you age, the world may try to define you by your roles, your achievements, or even your limitations. But your true self cannot be reduced to labels. It is spacious, aware, and whole. The inner child within you still knows how to trust, how to dream, and how to love without condition. When you sit in silence, when you speak kindly to yourself, when you create without fear of judgment, you are walking with this child again. This is not indulgence, it is remembrance. The Buddhist path is not separate from this journey. In fact, it is the very heart of it. To awaken is to come home to the self that has always been waiting. So take a breath, place a gentle hand over your heart, and remember, beneath the layers of age, pain, and time, you are still here. Whole, worthy, and wonderfully alive. Now we come to our third reflection, the healing power of being seen and truly seeing others. Among all the silent longings of the human heart, perhaps the most universal is this, to be seen, not just looked at, but truly seen. Beneath our achievements, appearances, and words, there is a simple need to be understood without judgment, to be accepted as we are. In Buddhism, This is known as Kalyamatada, the beauty of spiritual friendship, the gentle art of bearing witness to another's being without trying to change, fix, or possess them. Seeing someone clearly is an act of compassion. And to be seen clearly is one of the deepest forms of healing. To illustrate this, let us begin with a Zen story passed down through generations. A young monk, quiet and withdrawn, lived in a small temple in the forest with an aging Zen master. The young monk often sat alone, avoiding conversation. He felt unseen and unsure of his place. One winter morning, after weeks of snow, the Zen master brought the monk outside and pointed to a plum tree that had just begun to bloom. "Do you see this flower?" the master asked. "Yes," said the monk softly. The master replied, "It has bloomed without anyone watching. Still, it blooms fully, completely. Just as you must. But know this, though the world may not always notice, I see you." The young monk wept quietly, not from sadness, but from the healing that comes when someone finally sees the truth of who we are. From that day forward, he sat with greater presence, walked with lighter steps, and smiled more often, not because his life had changed, but because he had been seen. This story speaks gently to a truth we all carry: being seen affirms our existence. It tells us we matter. As we grow older, especially, the experience of being overlooked or misunderstood can deepen our feelings of loneliness or invisibility. And yet, the Buddha taught that true connection does not come from being loud or known by many, but from being present and sincere with even one person. When you offer your full attention to someone, without interrupting, fixing, or judging, you are offering something sacred. You are saying, "I see you. You matter." This act, simple as it may seem, carries immense healing. And when we open ourselves to truly seeing others, we soften. We recognize that everyone carries a story. That behind every anger is often a wound. Behind every silence, a hope. The Buddha's compassion was not abstract, it was rooted in his ability to see the suffering of others and respond with presence. You, too, have this power. You do not need special wisdom, only a quiet heart and an open gaze. And just as others deserve to be seen, so do you. Don't hide behind shame, or age, or past mistakes. Allow yourself to be known, not by everyone, but by a few who can see your light. Healing begins when we stop performing and start being. When we are met not for what we do, but for who we are. In this quiet exchange, spiritual friendship is born. And in that friendship, the walls we built out of fear slowly begin to fall. Let us now enter our fourth reflection: Buddhist teachings on non-attachment, presence, and compassion. These three qualities are not merely ideas to study, but living practices that have the power to transform our inner world. When the Buddha spoke of the path to peace, he did not promise a life free from challenges. Instead, he offered tools to face those challenges with clarity, love, and freedom. Non-attachment, or upekkha, is often misunderstood as indifference. But in Buddhist wisdom, it means to love without clinging, to hold the world with open hands rather than closed fists. As we grow older, we begin to see more clearly that everything we once thought permanent, relationships, possessions, youth, even identity, is in constant change. And rather than fear this truth, the Buddha invites us to rest gently within it. To practice non-attachment is not to reject the world, but to be deeply present in it without losing ourselves. Imagine a lotus on the surface of a pond, rooted, yet floating. This is the way of wise living. And how do we become rooted in this way? Through presence. Mindfulness, or sati, is the art of being fully here, fully awake to what is happening right now, without judgment or resistance. The Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This teaching becomes more powerful with age, when we have seen how quickly time passes. Presence allows us to enjoy the warmth of tea, the sound of birds, the breath that gently rises and falls. It teaches us that even ordinary moments are sacred when seen with clear eyes. And as we cultivate this calm awareness, something beautiful begins to grow: compassion. Compassion, or karu, is the natural flowering of a heart that understands suffering. When we see our own pain clearly, we are less likely to judge others for theirs. The Buddha's own journey began with compassion. He left his life of luxury not out of boredom, but because he saw suffering and could not turn away. He taught that to live with compassion is not weakness, but great strength. It means we remain soft in a world that often hardens people. It means we respond, not with anger or control, but with wisdom and care. For the aging heart, these three practices offer peace. Non-attachment allows us to release what we cannot hold forever. Presence teaches us to savor what remains. And compassion gives our experiences purpose, transforming both pain and joy into service and understanding. These are not traits reserved for monks in robes. They are accessible to anyone willing to slow down, breathe, and listen. When you let go of the need to control outcomes, when you rest in the now, and when you extend kindness without condition, you are walking the Buddha's path. And as you age, these qualities become not only sources of peace, but expressions of deep spiritual maturity. You begin to see clearly: the less you cling, the more you feel; the more you are present, the less you regret; the more you love, the freer you become. Let these teachings be your gentle companions. Let them guide you not away from the world, but into it, with open eyes, open hands, and an open heart. And now, we arrive at our fifth and final reflection: the importance of choosing the right energy and spiritual companions as you age. As we grow older, the layers of life naturally begin to fall away, ambitions soften, busyness slows, and what once felt urgent begins to feel less important. In this quieter chapter, we become more sensitive to the people and energies we surround ourselves with. The Buddha spoke often of Kalyamattata, or spiritual friendship, describing it not as a luxury on the path, but as an essential part of awakening. He once told his disciple Ananda, "Spiritual friendship is the whole of the holy life." What this means is that those we keep close to us have the power to influence the quality of our inner peace, our habits of mind, and the way we walk through life. In younger years, we may tolerate noise, drama, and imbalance without realizing their cost. But in the later stages of life, the soul seeks something deeper: connection that nourishes, companionship that supports stillness, and presence that uplifts rather than depletes. Choosing the right energy means learning to gently walk away from those who bring confusion, agitation, or judgment, and gravitate toward those whose very presence is calming, accepting, and mindful. It does not mean pushing others away in anger, but rather, moving closer to peace. Surrounding yourself with spiritual companions doesn't always mean finding others who speak in spiritual language. It means aligning with people who live with sincerity, with humility, and with a deep respect for life. These are the friends who listen without trying to fix you, who honor your silence, who sit with you in your sadness without needing to distract you from it. These are the companions whose lives are quiet reminders of what really matters. The Buddha encouraged us to walk the path with those who inspire virtue, who remind us to reflect, who help us grow, not by correcting us, but by walking beside us. And in turn, we are asked to be this kind of friend to others. As we age, we also begin to understand that energy is not just found in people, but in places, routines, and even thoughts. What we read, watch, listen to, and speak about, all of it shapes the atmosphere of the mind. And so, choosing the right energy also means being mindful of the internal company we keep. Do your thoughts uplift or criticize? Do your habits create peace or scatter your focus? To age with grace is to become a quiet curator of what enters your space, protecting your inner sanctuary, not out of fear, but out of love for the peace you've earned. This is not isolation, it is clarity. You begin to walk with fewer people, but deeper conversations. You begin to let go of proving yourself, and instead, rest in simply being. You begin to recognize that quality matters more than quantity, in relationships, in time, in thought. And so, let the final part of this reflection be a gentle encouragement: choose wisely. Seek those who bring you closer to your center. Let go of what pulls you away. And remember that the most profound companionship you will ever have is the one you cultivate with your own heart. In its stillness, in its wisdom, in its quiet knowing, it will guide you home again and again. As we come to the end of this quiet reflection, let us pause together for a moment and gently take in what has been shared. We began with the truth that both pain and joy belong in a meaningful life, that the heart deepens not despite sorrow, but because of it, and that joy becomes more sacred when it arises alongside impermanence. Then we turned inward, exploring the soft and forgotten space of the inner child, and how reconnecting with that essence brings us closer to who we truly are beneath the layers of time and expectation. We moved on to the healing power of being seen and truly seeing others, a gift we can give and receive at any age, one that dissolves loneliness not through noise, but through presence. We reflected on the Buddhist path of non-attachment, presence, and compassion, practices that ground us, free us, and soften our journey through life's inevitable changes. And finally, we arrived at the importance of choosing the right energy and spiritual companions as we age, not out of exclusion, but out of deep reverence for the kind of peace and clarity that we wish to carry within us. These 5 truths, when understood with the heart and lived with quiet intention, can become anchors in an ever-changing world. They are not abstract ideas but practices rooted in timeless Buddhist wisdom, teachings that remind us how to live, how to age, and how to be in the world without becoming lost in it. The Buddha did not offer dogma, he offered a mirror. And through this reflection, we are invited to see ourselves more clearly, not as broken beings trying to be fixed, but as whole beings trying to remember what peace feels like. Aging is not a decline, it is a deepening. And these later years are not empty, they are rich with the potential for self-understanding, for quiet joy, and for letting go of what no longer serves. To live mindfully as we age is to release the need to control, to impress, or to rush, and instead to sink into the sacredness of each breath, each interaction, each gentle sunrise. As you carry this reflection with you, may it serve as a soft reminder that you are not alone. Others too are walking this path, feeling the same aches, wondering the same questions, seeking the same kind of peace. May you meet them with kindness. May you meet yourself with even more. Now, if this reflection touched your heart in any way, we would love to hear from you. Please take a moment to share your thoughts, your experiences, or your quiet realizations in the comments below. How do you hold both joy and sorrow in your life? What moments have helped you reconnect with your true self? Have you ever experienced the healing power of being seen, or truly seeing someone else? Are you walking with companions who uplift your spirit? Your story matters. Your voice may be the gentle light someone else needs today. And if you found peace in this video, please consider subscribing to our channel, Mindful Pathway Media, for more Buddhist reflections, meditations, and insights into aging with grace, cultivating inner peace, and living with mindful presence. Sharing this video with others who may need it is also a beautiful way to extend compassion beyond yourself. We thank you deeply for being here, for showing up for yourself, and for walking this sacred path, one breath, one step, one moment at a time.